Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, my hair's a little funky. It's like, wasn't able to get a shower yesterday. Unfortunately, I wound up with a little touch of food poisoning. And I believe it's, actually, you know what, I'm not going to say I believe, I know it was from the food that I had at the convention center, the day before. So yeah, and the reason why I know it is even after eating, my stomach was just like, ugh, but I was taking it maybe, as what I was going through or whatever. But then I also remember, now of course I wound up getting the diet soda, to try and help, clear things up or whatever. It helped or what have you, but it was still just kind of like, ugh. But I remember yesterday when started going through everything. I was basically, it all finally hit those areas in my gut, in my intestinal tract where I've got the damage. And yeah, I was hurting. And of course I was nauseous and so forth, but it was mostly the pain that I was dealing with. And anyway, I was remembering when I was going through all of that, the amounts of times I kept hearing people, either throughout the rest of the convention that we attended, even before leaving the table, somebody had asked the question because they had the barbecue. They were like, "Is the barbecue making your stomach upset or whatever?" It was this gentleman, and I didn't hear the rest of the conversation or anything, but I kept hearing that with the different foods, with walking around. And then even when we were at the quilt store, somebody made a comment about the barbecue. So, and I didn't hear anything about the taco. The one that I had is basically called taco in a bag. I talked about that yesterday, that's right. But it was mostly the barbecue and the hot dogs. And when I was looking at the hot dogs, I didn't really quite look right. I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't eat that. I mean, they just didn't, ugh. But it's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, so I would say that I got hit with some food poisoning yesterday and wound up not being able to get a shower, go to work, or anything. So now I've got 2 days to come up to get the money together or the rest of the money together for rent for the car on Wednesday. So it's like, okay, buckle down. No biggie. I'll do it. So, but at least I feel a lot better today, and that's what matters most. But yeah, waking up this morning, we had some storm clouds. That's awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It was definitely warm this weekend, with what they were talking about, with it getting up into the 90s, and of course the higher humidity and so forth. It definitely happened, but we're supposed to be scaling back with this storm system that's coming in. And I think I saw that by Wednesday we're supposed to be back down to in the mid 70s, something like that, like 74, something like that is what I had seen. So yeah, not too bad. But it happens. It's part of summer. No matter where you live, it's gonna get warm. Of course, here we have to worry about humidity, but it's okay. No big deal, I've actually been enjoying it, so. But, yeah, I'm continuing to look at apartments, different areas. Yesterday, while I was prepping my berries for eating, I like to prep them ahead of time, wash them. I like to eat a combination of strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. I like to wash them all ahead of time, and then prep the strawberries even further by digging it, by cutting off the tops, or digging it out or whatever. You know how you take your knife, do it, and go around and then pull out like the core or what have you along with it. So that's what I usually would do. And I'll just do like a little bit of all of them with my meals. So anyway, I was looking at that one area that I had mentioned. I can't remember the name of it now. I'll have to look it up again. Oh, excuse me. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. Either there or the one area that's like right next door or what have you. I really liked it over there. And at least it's keeping me in the northern part of town. I don't mind the southern part of town. I just have a little bit of concerns about it being a little bit too busy or what have you. And I'm looking for quiet, you know. I really want quiet. And the thing I liked about that area over there, it had I think it was a pond because it had the fountain in the middle to help with the air circulation. It was one of those sorts of fountains. So, I really liked it over there. You know, I had that there with the walking trail and so forth, and it's like, it'd be a lot of fun, you know? Really, really cool to live over there. And I had seen, on apartments.com, there was an apartment complex that was advertising, that was basically all cottages. So I'm like, oh, I would love that. You know, just little cottages, you know, basically. And I think it's these ones that I drove by when I was over there. So it's like, you know, it's very, very tempting. I think it was those. I'm not too sure anymore. It's like, gosh, I've been around so much. It's like, yeah. But that would, either way, it would be really, really nice if we could maybe, and they weren't expensive either, and they were one bedrooms. I believe I saw that they had in unit washers and dryers instead of community. So that's a big thing I'm running into out here. They're charging the same amount of rent, or if not more, and they don't have in unit washers and dryers. And I just want one bedroom. You know, I don't have anything anymore, so it's like I just want the one bedroom, and yeah. But so yeah, it'd be nice for the two of us, wouldn't it? It sure would, wouldn't it? Yeah. This one is feeling a lot better now that she's been getting groomed almost every day. I didn't do it yesterday, of course, you know, but and she was really begging for it. But yeah, it's okay. It's all right. So I figured, I know I thought about maybe getting a shower first, but I think I'll eat first and then get a shower. So, but yeah, I even pulled out, and this one isn't scratching as bad either. Now that I've been getting all that old hair out, her winter coat basically. She's not scratching as bad either. Yeah, can you scratch it by the brush? Yeah. So yeah, yesterday I did pull out my fabric that I bought at that quilt store and started pairing up together and so forth. Kind of start getting some ideas for some projects. These ones that I bought, with the exception of maybe scraps, I really want to see about using for myself. For in-home projects, so yeah, it's going to be fun doing different things. I even got a couple for Christmas, or basically for winter celebrations. So I want my home, especially as far as Christmas is concerned, I want it to be I really want it to be more, not just Christmas. Yeah, you know, I honor my Christian heritage with celebrating or what have you, but a lot of, and I'm finding it even more and more, a lot of that Christian heritage, or the Christian heritage, is how much they really incorporated the pagan rituals. So yeah, I'm finding that out more and more with a lot of these documentaries and so forth that I've been watching here lately. So, and I want to see about incorporating those into mine as well. So, yeah, I just, so yeah, I had picked up a couple of fabrics that kind of were reminiscent for me for those, and everything. You know, of course, it would be nice if I can get my tarot and oracle card decks back, and also get my sewing out here. I don't know what's going on with with my friend who has all of that stuff. I'm kind of wondering if maybe something's going on with her. I was thinking about sending her a message asking her if everything's okay, because something's just not feeling right with me. So, yeah, I was thinking about doing that. So, anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that. Ask her, hey, is everything okay? I kind of wonder. But anyway, but it'll be nice to start getting some of those projects going and so forth. So anyway, also maybe do up some sewing projects for the holidays coming up. You know, of course, I also got the Halloween one. I need to hit up that other store that Angie was telling me about, that a lot of crafters go to get fabrics. And then, of course, there's Hobby Lobby, too. I know there was one there. I doubt if it's still there or not, but I would have loved to have gotten it at that point, but it's okay. And I think it would have been really cute to go with the one that I had gotten. It was very springy, you know. It's okay. You know, there's always others. No big deal. So, but anywho, yeah. It'd be nice to start getting some projects going and so forth. Start with me first, you know? Yeah. But, anywho, yeah. And maybe I can sew this one a new Christmas stocking. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice. Sew you a new Christmas stocking? Seems how we lost everything else. Yeah, I know. That was your stocking. You've had a rough life with me, little lady, but I'm working on trying to give you an even better one. You know, working real hard on it. That's all I've been wanting to do this whole time. That's all I've been wanting to do, is to feel better and start building a life again. That's all I've wanted to do the last couple of years. And unfortunately, people just have thought that all I've been trying to do is use them. And that wasn't the case. If you were as sick as what I was, you'd completely understand. I mean, let's face it, I almost died a couple of times. Actually, 3 times if you want to count the diabetes. If I didn't go to the hospital when I did and found out what was going on, continued down that path, I would have died. So, it's actually 3 times, but nobody wants to hear that. All they care about is this stuff. They don't care about the fact that the reason why things weren't being taken care of was because I was so deathly sick. Nobody cares about any of that. Of course, I'm called a liar about that. You know what? That's your problem. That's your trigger. You need to work through it. So, anyway, but yeah, I wasn't going to mention it, but I'm going to. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I was in hopes that with certain individuals that may be talking about my journey and so forth that might help them to understand what was going on, things how nobody was listening at the time. It was my hope that maybe get something out of it and maybe making improvements with their own lives, realizing what's really important. Instead of all of the stuff, that they do. But unfortunately, it wasn't the case. And I've been watching it get progressively worse through the weekend. And late last night, excuse me, I was seeing it in the background of the website, basically the blog, with the statistics. And I'm just like, yeah, it's just going to get worse. It's a repeat of everything that happened last year. And it's sad, really. Because if you were to take that energy and put it into yourself, to make improvements with yourself, and really put in the hard work of taking a look at yourself and what sort of behaviors that you're doing, that maybe you would see some things and maybe start making some changes, doing that healing work and so forth. Because I know that they're also good people. I don't consider them to be evil, as I was called. And it wasn't the case. If you just opened your eyes and seen how sick I was, you would understand why things happened. But unfortunately, it's not the case. It's easier to fall into the patterns, the negative patterns, basically, the negative behaviors, than to actually take a long, hard look and realize what you're doing and making those changes. So, because you talk all you want, but unless you actually walk the walk, there's no point. And unfortunately, you do find that even in the spiritual community, you find it with people who are saying one thing, but then they're turning around doing another. But oh well, it's part of it. It's part of the journey. Nobody's perfect. And that's another thing that I have to realize also, is that nobody's perfect. But there's also boundaries. And I decided to draw those lines last night, knowing that it's not going to get better. Knowing what is happening on the back end and so forth. And it's like, nope. And I didn't like having to do it, but I also had to protect my own energy and so forth. So I took the initiative and put blocks, at least on the Facebook account. I don't like doing it, but it is what it is. The videos are still open. The website is still open. My recommendation is to do that work. You just don't realize how much being ill really destroyed me. And I'm having to start all over. There's nothing left. If you want to try and go after anything, there's nothing left. And it wasn't sold. Me personally selling it. It all went to auction to pay off those bills that I owed to each of them. The car, repoed. Storage unit, repoed. Because I couldn't keep up with storage payments. It's all gone. The little bit that I did sell there at the end paid for me coming here. There's nothing left. I had 2 suitcases. That's it. So, all the furniture, everything, gone. So if you want to know how karma got back at me, well, there you go. I didn't care. I was more concerned with trying to stay alive. I realized throughout everything what was really important. And now I know even more what's really important. It's not about keeping up with those appearances. It's not about the big beautiful house. It's not about where you live. It's not about the HOA dues. It's not about... Life isn't about any of that. It's about really this. Right here. It's about sharing with ones that you care about. Not about all that nitpicking and shit. All of that gossip and so forth. The way I look at it is, if you can't afford it, if you can't afford to pay for it, if you can't afford the loan, if you can't afford the credit cards, if you can't afford the expensive car, if you can't afford any of that, give it up. What difference does it make? It doesn't. Yeah. That's where karma gets back at you. And karma will come back at you as well. For not taking, and how it will come back at you is for not taking care of somebody who is in desperate need. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, but push comes to shove, yeah, I'll take steps to, and don't bother. The way I look at it is, if you are watching still, don't bother, because I'll just file bankruptcy on your sorry asses. That's the way I look at it. And I would have then too. So, yeah. I just don't care. Yeah. Alright. So, but anywho, and really, to tell you the truth, that even goes for a couple of other people too, who I have decided to keep out of my life also, because I've gotten tired of their toxic behavior as well. That's basically the ones who told me that I love you, but go live out on the street. So in the same breath, goes for you too. I just don't care. I'm tired of toxic behaviors. I've lived with it for 50 years. Actually, it's what Angie and I were talking about on the way home, is the toxic environment that I was living in, I was growing up in, and so forth. On both sides of the family. Yeah. And I'm done with it. I'm done having to be the parent when I'm the child. And that's what it boiled down to. And I see that. Yeah. I was one who had to be the caretaker for my mother, because my father wouldn't step up to the plate. No, his way of stepping up to the plate, I need to call an ambulance, and he's downloading porn. This is back in the day when we still had dial-up internet, and we didn't have cell phones. Cell phones were a bit expensive. So yeah, that's sort of environment that I was living in. So, and that was as an adult, let alone as a child. Yeah. Daddy-o. I know all about it. You may have forgotten it, but I haven't. Found that out the day that we were leaving. Sad. Downloading porn was more important than calling an ambulance for your wife who was dying on the sofa. Sick. Oh well. And it was quite interesting pictures too, by the way. Oh well. It is what it is, between that and almost having a black eye for my prom, and yeah, I haven't forgotten any of it. And then I finally start standing up for myself and talking back and so forth. And I'm told, no, don't get emotional, this, that, every other thing. And, oh, he can't handle. You know what? All you're doing is enabling him. You both need to go and do your inner work as well. You might think that, oh, I'm too old, I'm on my way out of this world, and so on and so forth. No, it's never too late. If anything, you should be doing it even more so now that you are about to exit, instead of carrying everything with you. You should be going in, doing your inner work, your healing work, facing what you dealt with growing up. You should be facing all of that and doing some healing work from it, and talking about it, and doing some apologizing. I'm so sorry I wasn't a better father. I'm sorry I couldn't handle the fact that you were ill. Yeah, I'm sorry for what I did as well. But considering what I was going through, you didn't even care. As far as you were concerned, you were putting me in the same boat as the fucking drug addicts and alcoholics and gamblers. That's who you were telling me to go live with. And I was already living with them. Had been for the last 5 years. Just trying my damnedest to get out of it. And unfortunately, I went from dealing with issues with my car accident and my gut issues, but fighting through it and everything. And then I wind up with the breathing issues. And that was the final straw. That's basically what it boils down to. That was the final straw, and it almost took my life. That first the diabetes almost did, If I didn't go to the hospital when I did, I would have died. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the fact that I almost died a year ago because of the breathing issues. But was the whole point of that near-death experience that I had during the stress test, is to show me what love really is, and hopefully be able to find it here, and to realize that what I had been experiencing wasn't love. So what all you all have been reading on those pages on my website saying that I grew up with love is inaccurate. That was all written before. And it's all inaccurate. Yeah. I know what love really is now. And that's my marker. So, anyway. And I have it with this little one here. And that's all that matters to me. And I have it within myself. And that's what matters to me. I tolerate a lot. I'm willing to tolerate a lot. And that's been another thing that I've been having to work on, is how much I've been willing to tolerate. And now I'm learning how to set my boundaries. Draw those lines. And be like, no, I'm not letting you cross that anymore. I'm not willing to allow someone to be blowing up at me for no fucking reason. You need to go do your inner work, your healing work, and find out the reason why you keep blowing up. And learn how to control your fucking temper. Because I've had to tolerate it my whole fucking life. And I'm done with it. Sometimes it could even be physically abusive. And it's bullshit. There's no reason for it. And it has nothing to do with... That's the sad part. Usually people equate that to drugs and alcohol. No, in this case it was food and television. Having our heads stuck in the TV our whole fucking life. And not being able to see what reality is. Thinking that the TV land is what reality is. Those are really the only memories that I have. The majority of them anyway. Laying on the frickin' TV and watching TV all the time. I don't have the sort of memories that other people have of, father maybe taking us to the park and pushing us on the swings or playing ball. Mostly what I remember is laying on the TV, watching TV, laying around eating food, and getting fat. Yeah, that was a big problem there towards the end before my mom and I left. And eating all the food all the time, and we were having to hide food. Yeah. Because of gluttony. And we actually had to. We had to hide food. My mom and I were so malnourished. I mean, yeah, my mom always struggled to keep weight on, don't get me wrong, but it was even worse there at the end. Yeah, it was like, but oh well, that's okay. No longer. I know who I am, and I know what I'm fighting for. That's what matters. That's the direction that I'm going in my life. That's what matters to me most. And this is me doing my healing work. So, anywho, what sort of things do you have to heal? I know what sort of things that certain people have to heal. What about the rest of you? I'm sure that you do. If we all did that, start doing that, make a huge difference in the world. And then we could show our leaders, show the people who are in charge, basically. It don't matter. All your petty disagreements and so forth. It doesn't matter. We should be working on what really is important. Anyway, I love you guys. Talk to y'all soon. Oh, I almost forgot. I did do an extra post on the blog of all the pictures from the quilt show. If you want to check it out, I do have some captions with some of them. So if you wanted to go check them out, I recommend it. Also, the other thing I forgot to mention too, on the way over there, the GPS took us a different route, even a different route than what she usually goes, and it actually wound up being really cool. Ran into a still operating, very old prison. I mean, this had to be turn of the century at least, if not maybe even older. I mean, this place is old. And it was just outside St. Cloud. It was just like, I think it was on US 10 or something like that. It wasn't I-10, that's that goes through Texas, crisscrossing the country, basically from Jacksonville, Florida to Santa Monica. And I've been to both ends. I can say I've been to both ends. There's just one little section that I haven't been through yet. But yeah, I've been on almost that whole entire road. But anyway, yeah, it was just like, wow. Actually, it reminded me of Mayor of Kingstown, the prison in that show. But it was, and this place was still in operation. It was just like, holy cow. When I seen it, well, at first seen the sign, I made a joke to Angie. It's like, oh yeah, we're coming up in the correctional facility. You want to drop Megan off? Angie laughed. She's like, no. But excuse me. But anyway, yeah. Then all of a sudden we saw it, or I saw it anyway, and it was just like, holy cow. I was in total shock and awe at this place. It was just like, wow. You know, very characteristic, you know, what you would see in old black and white photos and so forth of, you know, like when the place is first opened or whatever. It was just like, I felt, that's exactly what I felt like. I was looking at an old black and white photo or something. And it was just like, wow. Because it was all gray brick, you know, and with the towers, you know, and everything. It was, and even, you know, it had the guard towers on the corners, and then in the center it had the guard tower, and it was, so you were driving by, you could see it and everything, and it was just like, whoa. It's hard to believe this place is still in operation, and it was. You could tell it was. And I don't know if it's the same place that I had heard about on the news shortly after I started working at my last job. Not entirely too sure if it was that same place where it was like they were saying it was 100 years old. The facility, it needs to be torn down. You know, there's no heat, there's no air conditioning. You know, all this sort of stuff and everything. The electricity doesn't work well, you know, all this sort of stuff. But it was still in operation. I don't know if it's that same place that I had seen, but I wouldn't be the least bit surprised because I'm like, holy shit. I mean, you know, of course I couldn't see interior or, you know, like the exterior doors or anything like that, but just judging off of what I could see, man. But it was cool still, yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, I wanted to make sure that didn't have any place where I could pull over to take pictures. I would love to take pictures, but that's okay. Maybe, I mean, there may have been places where I may have been able to pull over, take pictures, but I didn't do it. So, but anyway, oh, excuse me. Looking forward to getting this rain. I know. I hope we get a really good downpour. So, anywho, I'm going to let you go. I will talk at you soon. Love you.